Well, hello, this is Scott McMeans, and welcome to another edition of the Business Spotlight. I am here with Mark Inglis from One Planet Media. And what we're going to do today is have a conversation with Mark. We're going to learn a little bit about himself, what got him to where he is right now, and what makes One Planet Media such a unique business. So, Mark, welcome to the show.
Thanks,
And
Scott.
the camera and the microphone are yours, sir. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to the point now where One Planet Media is your passion.
Sure, I'll just give you a super top line background. Studied in New York, went to Pratt Institute, design and communications, worked in a number of design firms, Pentagram, SIF Marketing. Um, was art director at Newsweek Magazine International, worked on all the international editions. That kind of opened up my worldview a lot. Started my own company after that in New York, a design agency. And then I became the creative director at the Earth Institute at Columbia University. And that really got me started in the sustainability space. Um, Worked there for about 7 years. And then my wife and I came here to Cleveland. My first love has always been art and design. I was called to head up and create a new department, marketing communications department at the Cleveland Institute of Art. Great school, was founded in 1882. And then a few years ago, I left to start this new company, One Planet Media. I was really inspired by the global climate strike happening in Europe, Greta Thunberg, 2019, that all these young people had connected across all these cities, across all these countries. It occurred to me that there's an opportunity to clarify the messaging and develop an approach that might break through to the mainstream public as opposed to being very fragmented. So that's sort of my lead up in a nutshell.
I appreciate that. It's a good introduction to such a unique and creative background, leads you to the point where now you have an opportunity to communicate a message about something you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And you've built a business around that so people get a chance to hear, not necessarily propaganda, they get a chance to hear information that could make a decision-making process a lot easier for themselves. So I give you tons of credit for taking the leap. Owning your business is not always the easiest thing to do. And when you combine a passion with a vision, you have a really good opportunity to have a successful business. With that being said, Mark, let's talk about some of the things that make One Planet Media the company that you have it working with, right? Or the company it is right now. You've got a lot of different forces coming at you. So what is it that you would do to describe the working environment with you, your colleagues, your subcontractors, people that work on your team? How do you describe the working environment there?
Yeah, I mean, we're still a scrappy, lean startup, and so I have to be very disciplined. I'm really the only full-time person. We have about 10 independent contractors that I work with, and we have a workflow, and so all of them are engaged every week on developing new content programming for our streaming TV channel and YouTube channels. Uh, so I think my approach is I work with a lot of young folks, which is very inspiring to me. They really resonate with what we're doing here. And I would say my approach is to empower them as much as possible, to make sure that they feel they're in a safe place to criticize, to pass judgment, on what we're doing. I really, because in large part, we're trying to reach those millennials and Gen Zers, those young adults, 18 to 40. And so they help keep me in check as far as how do we uh they have an antenna, they smell the BS, and I like that. And so I push them to be honest with me. And in the process, I've learned a lot from them. And we've got a pretty, even though it's everyone's not full time, I'd say we're pretty tight knit. It's a pretty great thing.
That's good to hear. So a couple things that kind of uh, spark out on this. You've got a group of passionate people that you work with. They're younger, and you said you're targeting the 18 to 40 market.
Yeah.
Um, the rumor or the word on the street would be that 18 to 30 some odd year old people don't like to work very hard. So dispel that rumor for me, if you would.
You know, the work ethic is outstanding, and I have to give some credit to Cleveland State University, CSU, with the exception of myself. All of them are from CSU. It just sort of worked
Really?
out that way, and they're smart and scrappy, and uh, yeah, so they uh, you know they mostly studied film, marketing, video editing. So everyone sort of has a key role in how we process, our products. But but I've been very fortunate. So I want to
Yeah,
give a shout out to CSU for all those good folks.
that's great to hear. And one of the things that you made comment to that I liked a lot, it spoke to me is you have a lot of people that are scrappy, you're lean, you're a startup, you're a tight-knit organization, but there's a workflow. And it sounds to me, no matter what is going on, the workflow, if I'm understanding you right, Mark, that's the cornerstone or that's the foundation for what you do. So as long as these passionate individuals, scrappy as you may describe them, as long as these people are following the workflow and they have a passion, you've given them a nice direction to get from point A to point B because they're following a workflow. Is that the best way to describe what you got going on there?
I would say, that's the common denominator, is that we work together every week. But they've also really bought into the Grand Master Plan, which is,
Mm,
creating a new type of media TV network that can be accessible on any device, anywhere, anytime, as a contemporary, forward-looking media company. The fact that a lot of the environmental sustainability, climate change media, it's a very fragmented landscape. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of great media outlets out there, but it's primarily websites, articles. But to move into television, and then take that video-based content, break it down into small bite-sized pieces, push it out on social media, which is how they primarily,
mm.
especially Gen Zers, get their information. We've started to really work out a pathway to reach our target audience, and so yeah.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, I wrote down my note, media network anywhere, anytime, turning social media more into a television type environment. Is that a really good description of what you're doing?
I mean, I don't, in some cases, because it's a combination of news and talk format shows that we're breaking down. These are the original shows that we're producing. But we also have this Eartho TV. It's our 24/7 streaming channel. It has 160 plus film documentaries that represent different aspects of sustainability. And so we can also work with that content in addition to our original content. Um, so, um, so I think to a certain extent, yes.
Yeah,
But also looking at ways, because video-based content it's just so popular, especially with young
yeah.
adults. So we're really looking at how we can streamline that process.
I think you've nailed it when you said the video content is what people want because a majority of people learn by just watching. They want the video in interaction. They want to be able to see it, hear it, yeah, touch it, yes. But a lot of I think 40% of the people will learn through visual, 40% learn through touching, and only 20% learn through audio. So having the interaction or the opportunity for interaction from a network or a television type programming really brings the message a lot closer to people. And then if I'm hearing you correctly, you've got talk-based formats, you've got articles and information. So there's a lot more to it than just watch a video. It's not interactive, but it's presenting information for people to think and then take action. Does
Sure.
that make sense?
Yeah, I think, we're servicing the US and Canadian market right now, but our technology partner, Amagi, that distributes our content through our streaming channel we can scale very quickly into other parts of the world, international territories.
Mm,
And so video is a more universal sort of format for
yeah.
people from different parts of the world. That's also an advantage to using that.
I like that. I appreciate the clarification.
Yeah.
What are, Mark, what are some of the challenges that you've come across going from, and again, I love the way you describe it as a scrappy little startup. What are some of the challenges that you've overcome that maybe somebody can learn from? Like, how did you over, how did you work through a challenge that gave you an opportunity to be better? And through that, folks that are watching get a chance to learn a little bit about how they might be able to do the same thing. So walk me through something like that.
Sure. I'd say the biggest thing, at least for me personally, my personal journey, was having an ambitious uh, vision for this, and then experiencing imposter syndrome. Like, what?
Mm,
Who am I to think that I could do something like this? Even though I do have confidence, I'm a student of climate change and sustainable development goals, and a voracious reader about it. But I don't have the academic credentials. And so that I had to work through that. That was really kind of a big thing, big hairy deal for me to try to work through that process. And now I'm there,
yeah.
but it was uh, it, it was scary. It was definitely getting way outside my comfort zone, to be perfectly
You
honest.
just okay, and I'm going to tap into that because I love the idea that you said comfort zone because that's where everybody loves to be, but that's where nobody grows.
Yeah,
So if you are willing to get outside your comfort zone and touch the boundaries of where you're comfortable, you get a chance to really electrify what's possible, and then you start getting your interest turns into a passion, which turns into a business. And this is where Mark sits right now. He had an interest in something, and I even recognize you don't have the academic credentials, but you have an interest in this topic matter.
yeah.
You've turned this interest into a passion, and now the passion is a business. And it sounds like you've done an amazing job of stripping CSU of talent, and you've got these people that are around you that see what you're doing. They recognize the opportunity for what it is, and they're contributing because your vision and mission for what you want is in line with what they want. If I were to say that is the perfect definition of how to start a business, I'd be 100% accurate because that's what you need to do. You are the one that sets the tone. You're the one that has the vision and the mission for what's going to happen, and then you recruit people that have a very similar mindset that you do, but you challenge yourself by bringing people that don't think the way you do. That's how you start a good business. And you even said, and I wrote it down, they challenge, they criticize, and they make judgment, but it all follows within the same empowering workforce that we're safe and we follow a workflow. That is, Mark, an amazing definition of how a business should run. And I give you
Cool.
credit for kind of establishing that. And you've gotten people to follow you, which is one of the things a leader is supposed to do is find people that want to follow them. And that's a testament to what you're doing. And the fact that you thought your vision was ambitious, no, it's not. If it doesn't scare you, if it doesn't scare you, it's not big enough,
Yeah.
right?
Well, the genesis of the whole thing was young people from the very beginning. Thinking
Yeah.
about the things that this young generation are going to see in the next 60, 70 years.
Mm,
This is a very serious question. I think about this all the time. And the speed of change that's happening right now to the climate, to habitat, to species extinction, this is very real. The ocean is getting very hot. Uh, you know, so I could talk for hours about this stuff.
That's
And I
why you,
really think I'm concerned about the future you know, um, of the next 100 years. What we do now, the climate experts say, what we do in the next 10 years, that's going to have a profound impact on the next 100 years.
sure.
So I think a lot about speed to market, and just moving the needle, really kind of making a difference using mass media, television, to break through and
Yeah.
actually start to with science-based, with fact-based content that people can trust. That's very, very critical to our brand as well.
I like it. The fact that it's science-based, fact-based equals trust. You have to make sure that the information is relevant, the information is sound, and it has some credibility to it, as opposed to, again, the propaganda on one side or the other. If your information has the foundation, then people will be drawn to it. And I think that makes complete sense. We're going to put down all the in the description below, all the information on how they can get in touch with your different channels and different content. So um, if there's something you want to say specifically, the name brands or the channels, by all means, here's the time to let everybody know what channels you're on or what channels you're producing so people can find you. But I'm going to put it in the description below. But if you want to make that comment, I think that was appropriate time to say that.
Okay, great. We have a 24/7 streaming channel now. It's called Eartho TV. We have agreements with 6 small streaming platforms, which we'll list, but you can also see it, the live feed on oneplanetmedia.com, our website. And we have 2 original shows. One's All Things Green, talk show format with experts in sustainability, different sort of verticals, and 1 p.m. weekly news, One Planet Media weekly news, top line sustainability news from around the world that comes out weekly. Both of those shows go to podcast, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. And we're working on a new channel called Earth Tech TV, 24/7 streaming channel that is all climate tech, and sort of tap into some of the innovation that's happening there, which is really, really exciting. That perhaps is for another day, but some really
You
exciting stuff happening there.
You've got a lot of stuff going on, and the Earth Tech TV sounds as if that would be a very intriguing channel for people to get involved in, to learn about the new technology that's coming forward to alter the course of one direction
Yeah.
that the planet is taking. So
More
that's outstanding.
B2B. That's more B2B. Eartho TV is more B2C. So
Okay.
we're looking at, different types of content for different target audiences.
Well, the good news is the content is there. The audience is going to find it. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of connecting everybody. And you've got a lot of stuff going on. It's a great opportunity to get a message across in the format and the way people want to receive information. This is a really good way for people to connect to you and the message. So this is great. We talked a little bit about challenges, a little bit about some of the lessons that you've learned. What are some of the things that if you were starting a business and somebody would have given you advice that you should have taken, but you didn't, what would that advice be that you missed?
Honestly, I know it sounds cliche, but follow your heart. You
There it is.
know, uh, for me, I think it took me. I've I love art and design. I've been very happy with my experience in those industries. Um, but um, but but starting this company, just it was a whole nother level of excitement and passion
Yeah,
that I didn't even know was there before. And so
I love
I
it.
in that experience, I would just, uh, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I'm really doing this because, yes, I'd like to be financially independent, but I actually want to do something really meaningful with the balance of my life and see if I can make a difference there. And it's just given me a whole new lifeline.
I love it.
So
No, that's great, Mark. I really appreciate it. And I'm gonna ask you one last question. Okay. If you were to go back in time and sit down on a park bench right next to 18-year-old Mark Inglis,
mm,
what would you tell
oh man, wow, you got me.
him?
You got me,
No doubt.
Scott. Well, the 18-year-old Mark Inglis, honestly, I won't, I would, um, I just wasn't very mature, to be honest with you. I got myself off to college, and I was having a lot of fun. And it took me a while. I'd say in my early 20s, like 23, 24, suddenly I zeroed in and I was a machine. I became extremely
Yeah,
disciplined. But the 18-year-old version, what would I tell them? Um, I would tell my 18-year-old self uh, to be a better student in school, to be more thoughtful um, with people and family and friends. Um, I had always been very impatient. I've really had to work on that kind of stuff.
sure.
So honestly, that's what I would say.
And
Career-wise,
there,
yeah,
Mark, there's no right or wrong answer, and I didn't mean to
yeah,
ambush you with that question, but the reaction that you gave is what I was looking for because it was a raw reaction. It was
yeah,
real. You had to think about it, but it's real. And what I like about the way you thought through this, and this is a compliment, so please take it as one, you had to really think about it, which means you lived or you have lived a very good life because you have no regrets and you didn't correct what went down back then, other than to say, stop, smell the roses, don't waste so much time, pay attention to the people you love.
yeah.
Great message for people. But I love
Maybe
the fact that
one or two regrets in there somewhere, but
all
by and large,
right.
yeah,
So a small number of regrets is better than a number of
yeah,
regrets. So it's good because the reaction or the question gives the interviewee the chance to think about it, be a little retrospective. And you didn't falter. You thought and you responded, which is a really good thing because most people don't know how to answer that question.
that's
And
a
when they
tough one
do,
actually.
I've heard everything from I would have bought Apple stock, I would have bought IBM stock. Okay, that's good. But when it comes to building a better life for yourself, what would you tell yourself to do? And I like the fact you don't have a lot of regrets that would have changed the course of your life. So you
Yeah,
lived a good life, which is great. And you are building a business that's going to allow people to follow your passion, which is, I think, one of the best things a business owner can do is inspire others to follow them. So congratulations on that. And
yeah.
for the audience, please, all the information is going to be in the description down below. Please click, follow up with, view whatever you can with One Planet Media because I think you'll find out there's some good information out there. Mark, thank you so much for your time. Any last parting words?
I just want to thank you, Scott, for having me on today. Really appreciate that. Also want to give a shout out to Cleveland Institute of Art. We worked with their animation program to create a bunch of animated commercial bumpers. They just crushed it. Another large group of young people. So yeah, besides that, I think I want to give thanks to my team uh, for um, for their patience and their yeah, and just their excellent work. I'm just really proud of them, and I think that should do it.
I think that's a great way to finish. You surround yourself with creative people that make you look really good, and you look good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate everybody being here, and we will see you all next time on the next episode of the Business Spotlight. Thanks, Mark.
Okay, take care now.